Hello and welcome to your Alba weekly update. It's been another very busy week of activity for Alba, and on Saturday our activists were out across Scotland and they braved the weather in our latest Alba Day of Action. And it's vitally important that our activists continue to take forward the case for Scotland's independence as an immediate priority. And of course, as our activists pound the streets, our parliamentarians continue to do the job of standing up for Scotland. This week, Neil Hanvey had what's known as a 10-minute bill in the UK Parliament. Neil's climate allowance bill aims to put money into the pockets of pensioners in Scotland and indeed across the UK. Many, as we know, are struggling to pay for bills at the moment. It'll give them more money for their heating, for cooking, and to just make sure that they don't have to choose between eating and heating their homes. And I think that's a really good example of the difference that Neil has made in Parliament. And of course this week, we also saw the latest statistics on drug deaths. Too many people, over 1,000 in Scotland, in the first 9 months of this year have died because of drugs. And Kenny McCaskill MP continues to champion the cause of why Scotland needs all the powers of independence to make sure that we can get that right. But of course the Scottish Government, with the powers they do have to do much better. And another report that was released this week, and it never got enough media attention, was the impact of the pandemic, in particular lockdown, on the attainment of Scottish school children. We've seen attainment drop across the board because of the pandemic, but it dropped even more for the most deprived children, something we all knew, but now has been confirmed. And of course, that comes at a time that the Scottish Government have cut attainment challenge funding to the 9 most deprived council areas in Scotland. These figures must now act as a wake-up call that the Scottish Government must reinstate that funding. But as we look forward to next year's council elections, that's why it's important that Alba gets councillors elected, because we've got the most ambitious plan of any political party in Scotland to really tackle poverty and deprivation, things that make the difference to reducing that attainment gap, such as doubling of the educational maintenance allowance, free school meals for every school child in primary school and high school, and money in the pockets of the poorest, most deprived families in Scotland. That's just some of the differences that Alba politicians will make in council chambers the length and breadth of Scotland. And of course, one thing you would have noticed this week was the UK government saying that the pandemic may well last into 2025, because that's when they've now extended their test and trace contract to, which of course will be a surprise to you, considering the chaos that test and trace has been this week. But with the First Minister saying she wants to hold a referendum in 2023, pandemic allowing, we now have a situation that the UK government could dictate when the pandemic ends. And the UK government could say that we're still in a pandemic in 2025, so there can't be a referendum. But if that's the case, we don't have the opportunity to take all the powers we need into Scotland's hands to recover from the coronavirus. It'll be Boris Johnson or whatever Tory Prime Minister replaces him that determines Scotland's future and makes all the decisions that we need to make in Scotland to make sure we recover better. That's why it's vitally important that we in the Alba Party continue to put that grit in the independence oyster to demand that Scotland's independence is campaigned for as an immediate priority. For now, can I wish you this week a Merry Christmas when it comes, and also a Happy New Year, and I'll see you in 2022.